Hello, I am going to be doing my presentation on the Harrison Industries case from Chapter 7. Now, as a synopsis for this case, there is a new accountant in a company, and she is told to accrue severance pay, which is significantly higher than what it has been in prior years. And as an explanation, they tell her that one of the divisions in the company is going to be shutting down, which is justification for the high severance accrual. So she does some research, she looks back, and it's about a 10% accrual that happens every year based on operating income. So 10% of operating income is accrued as severance pay. But this coming year, the one that she's asked to do the journal entry for, they're telling her to do 25% of operating income. So she does her research, she talks to a mentor to try to figure out what to do, and is, in one case, told that if she doesn't do what she's told, she will most likely be terminated for that. So one of the questions that it asks is, what are some of the arguments that can be made against, her side of the argument? And some of the things I came up with are, first, that accruing is a long-term investment, so to speak. In the short term, it could affect the financials, but in the long term, it's all going to even out anyway. Could be one argument. Another one is that the company culture is one of obedience. So if a higher up tells you to do something, you do it, no matter what. Another argument which was discussed is that one of the divisions is closing, so that justifies the higher payment. Another one that I also said was she had the potential to be terminated because of her actions if she went against this decision, against her orders. But probably the worst argument, the one that would probably be used against her the most, is income smoothing. The people in the company could say, oh, others are doing this, why can't we? It's okay, it's going to all even out in the end. Most companies want to appear like they're growing consistently, so they create a cookie jar reserve, so to speak, that makes it so that they can expense more in years where they do really well and reverse that expense, or not expense as much in other years where they don't do so well. So it looks like they're consistently growing instead of, kind of having a choppy income. So one of the other questions is, who does she have an ethical obligation to? Who does she need to protect in this situation? And I believe the first priority is the shareholders. They have a right to know the financial position of the company at all times. If they're doing really well, then their stock should be really high. If they're doing really poorly as a company, they should be low. Instead of in an effort to, constantly smooth the income, in order to keep that consistent, the stock's consistent, the company should really show their true financial position so people could decide for themselves if they want to stay invested in that company. Another group of people that have, the right to know what's happening is financing companies. They'll want to know if income is steady, if their net income is really increasing and decreasing as much as it is. They don't really want to, they don't really care about the smoothing part of it. Another group of people who she needs to be worried about is the managers themselves. They could get in legal liability for their actions in this case and be prosecuted for that. So she has their future to worry about as well as her own. If she's terminated, that doesn't look good for her on a resume. It doesn't look good for the accounting profession as a whole also. She has an obligation to remain clean from this type of action because she doesn't want to destroy the reputation that accountants try to uphold. So the final question is, overall, what should she do in this case? And my thought is, like in most other cases we discuss, she should start from her immediate supervisor, who is the one she's going to go meet with in this case, And if that doesn't work out, she should go to the chief accounting officer, who is the next supervisor above that. If that doesn't work out, go to the CEO. And then if that doesn't work out, go to internal auditors, go to the board of directors, and even external auditors and other sources, if that is the case. And, in those discussions, she should discuss, the importance of not doing income smoothing. There are people who need to know the true financial position of the company, and if they determine that they're going to keep doing that as a company, she might not want to be affiliated with them in the future. And she also has her own ethics to uphold, is another thing she should discuss. It's important for them to see that she's an honest person, an honest accountant, and wants to be an ethical person. And in that, if they understand that, if they see that, they might not, feel comfortable themselves doing these acts that she sees as wrong and which are wrong. So overall, she needs to stick to her ethics. She needs to be honest with herself and know that what is happening is incorrect and unethical. It's hard to go and talk to supervisors, but it's something that needs to be done in order to protect everyone that has a stake in this company. Thanks.